What's going on, everybody? So in this video, we're going to be talking about Othersides and what happened on everything during the mint, some up and coming hot projects you got to keep an eye out for, and what's going on in the markets. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is what exactly is going on in the markets. And as you know, over the weekend, Othersides minted out. So when Othersides minted out, right, the floor price is going to be 3.9 right now. We see that a lot of people are taking profits. In the beginning, before Othersides came out, everybody was stacking up all their liquidity, selling all their projects so they would have money for this land, right? Basically, every project was essentially dying, like we covered in the last video. But now what's happening now is that people are taking profits. Maybe they're making money, maybe they're losing money, depending on the situation, and they're rolling it into other projects. So we see in the top, like let's say 10 to 50 imaginary ones pumping. Doodles has a major pump that was literally just like 15 ETH like a second ago. Murakami Flower Seeds obviously going up, CloneX going up. So a lot of like blue chip style NFTs, Azuki also getting a lot of volume as well. And even when you scroll down, you see other smaller projects getting some volume. Not every single project, but we definitely see smaller projects getting some volume as well. Now diving into the other side, right now the floor price is going to be 3.9 and it seems like it is slowly dropping. And essentially what happened during this mint is there's a lot of things, right? Remember how the other side, they posted this article on Twitter where they were like, they said Dutch auctions are BS, right? And then they were like calling out, not really necessarily calling out, but saying like other projects are being greedy and things like that. And they're like, oh, we're going to do a fixed price. But in reality, the way they set things up, there was a huge gas war. Everyone was trying to mint the other side. And I believe more than $75 million worth of Ethereum, probably possibly more, that's the last time I checked it, was burned with this gas war. So they kind of makes them look kind of silly a little bit, where they're like, oh, we're gonna make this mechanic where we're gonna save so much on gas. In reality, they burned $75 million, right? If you think about that, let's say a project like Pixelmon, where they sucked out almost like $70 million out of the market and just put it in their pocket, you could also argue that, you know, just burning the Ethereum and throwing it away also takes out the liquidity. Now the intention is completely different, but the result is the same. So obviously they didn't mean to, but could they have done a better job in optimizing the contracts, or maybe spreading out the land sale over a longer duration of time of multiple days versus all at once? Possibly. And you know, a lot of developers on Twitter are talking about like there are so many different ways to do it that you could have done better, but for whatever reason they didn't. And I guess we just got to take it as a learning lesson. And then the funniest thing was that Otherside was like, Ethereum is so inefficient and like we burn so much gas, so that's why ApeCoin is going to be our savior. And it's like, I don't think that's necessarily the answer, to use ApeCoin for everything just because you guys burn gas, mainly because there are ways you could have prevented that. And so it's kind of interesting how that kind of played out. Not the smoothest, but it doesn't mean Otherside is not valuable. It just wasn't the best minting experience for a lot of users. And I do believe they are possibly going to refund some of the people that lost gas during the transactions, but I have to double check that because I'm not 100% sure, because it's a lot of money to refund actually. So the thing with the Otherside land is that, you know, some of them are going to just have like these attributes and, you know, whatever on it. So there's going to be different types of land. As you can see, there's different tiers from slime tier, swamp, obsidian, gold, and acid land. So these are going to be the different rarities of the land, and there's going to be different attributes for that land, what resources you have, what special items, and then there's going to be these quotas, right? So quotas are essentially, you have a 10% chance that your quota is going to be on the land, so it's just kind of like just standing there and chilling there. And then the ones with the quota are worth quite a bit. I think at the time of this recording is going to be about 26 Ethereums. And so basically what it looks like is, it looks like a piece of land. Is the art necessarily good? Personally, no. I don't think the art is that good. I think they could have done a much better job with the resources they had. Kind of looks like fiber art, but it is what it is. That's a quota right there, and that thing is worth 27 ETH, right? And so there are different variations of it. It could be like a rare land with a quota on it, and I'm sure the different quotas have different rarities, but I don't think you can look specifically into how rare that quota is. It's just saying that it has a quota, or has a number at least. That's pretty much it. So you got the land, you got some of them got quota. Actually, one of my friends minted 2 of them. He paid like a few Ethereum for the gas, but he got a quota, so it was a worthwhile investment. While other people, maybe they spent a lot of money on the land and then a lot of money on the gas, and then they might be at a loss at this point, right? It's just like sometimes when you think something is like a shoe-in, like, oh my god, like this is for sure, I'm gonna double my money. Depending on when you buy and sell, how much gas you spend, doesn't mean you always will make money. So just keep that in mind, especially for these large projects. And a lot of times it's speculation. If you get a quota, you're rich, but then if you don't and then you pay too much, then it's like, oh shoot, I'm down like a couple ETH, right? So it really just depends. So this trader I follow on Twitter, his name is Odo. He's actually a funny guy. He's like, as horrific and comedic as this may be, I'm probably tapped out for the next big drops. I was hoping to hit 1 to 2 quota so I could have liquidity, but now I have 21 lands that I can't sell unless I want to lock in a 3 ETH loss. So I guess for him, he was thinking that, oh, if I buy 21 pieces of land, like at least like if there's a 10% chance, if I get 2 quotas, then the whole thing's going to be worth it. And then he actually didn't get any. And so I guess he's at a 3 ETH loss with the gas and the mint price combined, or maybe he bought in secondary. I'm not sure his exact method of purchasing, but he's down 3 ETH, right? So again, it's like, just because you have a lot of money, you're buying this stuff, doesn't mean you're always going to make money. I mean, this guy is actually a pretty experienced trader. So it's like, you don't always make money, right? And that's just the nature of the game. Shout out to him though, because I don't know him personally, but he writes some funny stuff on Twitter. Anyways, we're going back to the Otherside land. So different materials or root, shard, treasure, and tools. Basically, these are just like items that are on the land itself. They cannot be created. You just have to like have them on the land to get them. And then more explanations of like all the different elements of how the land works, from the rarity, the land name. If it has artifacts on it, it will clearly tell you, which is pretty nice. From there, that's pretty much it. So the selling land, not necessarily anything has to happen yet. There's still a lot to build when it comes to this metaverse, right? When we go on the other parts of their website, you can kind of see like you can enter a piece of land and this is their world essentially. In the middle of it is going to be the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is pretty crazy that this is like becoming such a phenomenon, right? I remember when I started in crypto, this was just like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. It's like, 15 ETH, and now it's like this whole huge thing. Like no one would have thought, or maybe some people thought, but I wasn't thinking. So I guess there's different land depending on where you're at. There's going to be different rarities, and some people will want land closer to the swamp. Some people might want land. I mean, I guess this would be pretty general. Other people live on these little islands, but like, bro, does having a piece of land like on a certain piece of area or real estate have? Who really knows, right? Because it's digital land. It's not like you have to walk from one place to another. You're probably going to teleport there. So I'm not sure that having different areas of land or where your land plot is will have an advantage or not. Probably there will be. Probably the closer you are to the sun, meaning the swamp, the better it is. But again, it's all literally speculation. Unless you have like inside information and you can trade on that, it's hard to say like what's worth it, what's not. Is it worth it to buy a land that's right next to the swamp? I don't know. How much was it worth? I don't know. Again, it's speculation. So it's something to keep in mind, but it's interesting because they're creating a game within the buying mechanic, which, a lot of traders are interested in. I mean, in a way, it's like gambling, right? So moving away from the other sides, talking about different projects over here. The next thing we're going to talk about is Artifact Studios Teasers Nike in real life apparel collaboration. So obviously they got a CloneX over here. It's kind of interesting to imagine like the CloneX kind of looks like a kid, but then they put it on an adult body. For me, it looks kind of weird. It's something it doesn't quite fit, but maybe for other people it does make sense. But essentially somehow they're going to be dropping a digital sweater that's like Nike and CloneX branded, and then you can possibly be able to forge this into the real life and you can actually wear it. The details of like how it works is not necessarily clear, but it's interesting that they are now working on Nike Artifact clothes, because like if you think about like Nike sportswear, for example, which is a big business in itself, Artifact, like Nike clothes, can be an entire separate branch where they can just keep creating clothes and clothes and clothes and clothes, and people who want to be part of this ecosystem. That's going to be cool, right? Because if you think about CloneX, there's only going to be 20,000 of them. Then there's like the monoliths, and then there's like a bunch of sneakers that are going to just like, probably in the future, they're going to be like millions of collectible sneakers. So I'm pretty sure that the clothes is going to be a big business, because after all, like Nike is in the business of selling commodities as like not commodities, right? They're selling you a sweater and putting their check on it, and then it costs like a lot of money. And so you probably going to see a lot more of that. And I guess brands that can find revenue sources outside of just selling more NFTs, that's going to be a very big advantage. So, if Nike's already making all this money from clothes and now they're making it a little more digital with a membership, like with a NFT, then yeah, it's a good business proposition. Long term, looking pretty strong. Nike is a blue chip. Artifact is a blue chip in the NFT space. So this is a project that I would definitely bet on if you have the liquidity for the long run. Now, talking more about 3D projects, we have Karafuru over here. Recently, they've been dropping some new teasers on what their new 3D NFT is going to look like. The one that really caught my attention is this one, is the legendary one with this purple smoke over here. It kind of reminds me of Naruto, if you ever watched it. I mean, I'm kind of like sounding like an anime nerd right here, but Sasuke uses the, what's it called, Susanoo or something like that. He summons like this purple like demon behind him. So it kind of gives me that kind of vibe, which is pretty cool. And I guess they're going more of like a different kind of route where, originally before when we looked at this, it was more streetwear, right? It was like Hypebeast and Atmos. You're basically taking like streetwear brands or those silhouettes and adding them into these Karafuru NFTs. But I think they wanted to take it a step further, because I guess it wouldn't be as cool if you're just having regular streetwear. So they had to make it like more NFT and crazier, right? So that's why they have some of the silhouettes have these little techie stuff on it. Some of them are robots, some of them are zombies, which is very like crypto, right? I feel like this brand does have potential. How far it will go, it remains to be seen. Depends on how big is the push, how much people they can onboard into the NFT space. Because if you just like realize just the last thing I was talking about with the Artifact Studios Teasers Nike in real life collaboration, like we're on Hypebeast.com, right? And Hypebeast is a partner in Karafuru 3D. So you can imagine that whenever they launch like Karafuru 3D, like Hypebeast can basically advertise this to their audience at any time. Just to be clear, guys, Hypebeast is a publicly traded company that you can literally invest in, and they get 10 million views per month according to SimilarWebs. That's a lot of people who potentially may buy this kind of stuff. Definitely something you should research into a little bit. After this little drop, these trailers, the Karafuru price increased by like 0.2. So it's not like moving the market, but it definitely is moving a little bit. So you get a free airdrop of the 3D if that's something you are interested in, or you could, buy on secondary or whatever. Pay attention to it, because I think it's going to be, a lot of people are going to have eyeballs on it when the time comes. Next upcoming drop that we are going to be talking about is going to be the Phantom Network Project PXN. And as you know, they recently just announced when they're going to be dropping on public mint is going to be May 4th. What is the price? It remains to be seen. Is it a Dutch auction? Is it what? Nobody really knows, right? Whitelist is going to be May 5th. So congratulations, anybody have a whitelist, because this is going to be hot. We've seen some of the really rare one of ones, most likely with this little cat suit over here. I guess we have some different hairstyles. I don't know if this is going to make the cut. We have different classes as well. We're going to have like healers and like medics, I suppose. How would these designs and IP like blend into the entire ecosystem really remains to be unseen, right? Because if you think about what is Phantom Network anyways, or what is PXN, from the outside looking in, if you're not like deep into the Discord, it kind of just looks like a metaverse play where it's like anime inspired, like Asian inspired, more techie, more futuristic, like cyberpunk kind of ish. There's definitely a large market for this kind of stuff, and a lot of people do resonate. And like, look at the trailers, like it's Secret Agent, like looking through these pictures, pretty high quality, I would say. Could they potentially turn this into a Netflix series? I honestly think they could. Could they turn this into some kind of game in the future? That's definitely a possibility, right? And so there's a lot of things that may go on. I mean, I think they're trying to do like a layer 2, do their own token. It remains to be seen, because it's like the idea of like, what is a metaverse brand? What is a metaverse IP? This literally is being invented as we speak. So I feel like these new brands are going to like combine different elements. It's kind of like taking like Supreme, combined with a tech startup, combined with tokens, combined with fashion, and combined with anime. You just like throw it all together. I feel like as long as they have the core audience, that people that love it, they have the right team to keep building, and they have the IP that people can like and gravitate to, then they can pretty much do anything, similar to how Mickey Mouse can do anything or Final Fantasy can do anything. These are basically the modern day IPs. I'm really interested to see how this is going to go, because tonight I'm actually going to be talking to Ray on our YouTube channel. We're going to do a little interview before this thing launches, hopefully. We're going to ask him some juicy questions there. And the next project that we are going to be talking about is going to be Moonbirds. Now, the reason we are talking about Moonbirds, obviously they minted, the floor price is ridiculously high, but something here to learn is the way they are incentivizing their users to continue to hold these Moonbirds. Pretty much, they created this concept called nesting, and essentially what you do is you take your bird, you lock it up without having it leave your wallet, meaning that you don't give it to someone else and it locks up, which most staking has to do. You just leave it in your wallet, but then you lock it up in your wallet, and then the longer you hold it, the more rewards you get. But instead of giving you like tokens or things like that, basically this nest will level up, or your bird will level up over time, right? And so the longer you hold it, the more things you get. Like, I think if you level up to a certain level, you get like free stickers, and then I think you level higher, you're gonna get free like airdrops and special access to certain art that you can purchase. So this is basically unlocking benefits the longer that you hold it, which I actually really like the idea of, because in the past, when we see other NFTs create a token, for example, a lot of people will buy the NFT because they're like, oh my god, like this thing makes like $200 a day, so I definitely got to buy this thing, and it's passive income. But what will happen when you create a token so quickly is that it's difficult to maintain the price of a token. You know, the price goes up, and then they're like, oh shoot, like we don't really know what to use our token for, and the price just declines. With the price declining, then the value of the NFT also declines, and it's like, you don't want your floor price to be directly affected by the token. And then tokenomics are so hard, especially if your NFT is printing money every single day. What are you gonna do with those tokens, right? And we haven't really seen an NFT project successfully like maintain the price of the token over the long term yet. That playbook is not even invented yet. So I feel like for Moonbirds, with the concept of nesting, is really smart, because they will incentivize their holders to actually want to hold to earn certain benefits without introducing a token if they don't want to. It literally does the same job without the token, and then without the token, it just gives you less of a headache, right? And also because those rewards are directly tied to things that are not necessarily financial, but then it gives you an opportunity to buy a certain art piece or go to a special event. I'm not sure exactly what Moonbirds is going to have. Like, that's still like a mystery, or you just have the general idea. Or they have like this high-rise thing as well, which is going to be like their own version of the metaverse, right? But there's not a lot of details on it quite yet, so I can't necessarily speak on it. Yeah, there is financial reward for it, but like it's more about giving you things that will give you access to be part of the community. I think that's much better, because it attracts the right type of people into your project. You don't want those people that just come in here for the money, and the moment like they feel like they're not going to be making any money anymore, they just dump it, which happens to a lot of play to earn projects. Yeah, so when I'm looking at these projects moving forward, like anybody who says like, oh, we're going to do a token and then we're going to sell you some land, I'm like, we've seen this before, and it doesn't usually work out. So definitely something to learn from nesting, from Moonbirds. And the mechanic of nesting, I'm not exactly sure how it works, because I'm reading a couple different, I don't have a Moonbird myself, so it's hard to like get all this data correct. There's like the concept of like, if you hold the Moonbird and you sell it to somebody, do they have to start over in their level up, or does the Moonbird come with that level because you held onto it first? And if somebody just bought all the highest level Moonbirds is that necessarily fair? So there's a lot of those questions that pop up that maybe people don't have the perfect answer for, but I would say it's a much easier problem to solve than all our NFTs are printing money every day, but we have nowhere to spend it and our tokens going to zero. I feel like that's a lot more, you're playing with fire when you're going in that direction. I mean, in the past, in my opinion, you didn't know how this will all turn out. You didn't know that if like you create a token for your NFT, like all this crazy stuff will happen. You have these problems that you never anticipated, but now we know. And so the projects moving forward, I feel like they're learning from the mistakes of the earlier projects. The earlier projects have to clean up the messes that they created to continue to remain irrelevant. And I think everybody knows like what projects I'm talking about. But yeah, so very interesting lessons to learn, especially as we work on the Parallax NFT, which is coming out real soon. Haven't quite publicly announced it besides like hinting it here and there, but I'm looking at all these projects and trying to figure out like what's the best way to roll it out, what are the best benefits to give without like creating this artificial pressure of like creating free money, because I don't think that's sustainable. But yeah, if you want to learn more about the Parallax and how to get whitelisted, make sure to join the Parallax Discord where we have more information about it. Yeah, ask around, people will help you out. With that said, that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.